Well, welcome to another video from the Norfolk Herald. It's a beautiful, bright, late October day, somewhat on the cool side, hence I haven't been brave enough to put the top down. And I'm just going out for an aimless little drive just to warm the old girl up and keep her running. Thought I'd bring you along for the journey. Just trying out a slightly different arrangement with the microphone. Just trying out a slightly different arrangement with the microphone. Just to see if I can avoid the dropout that I've been getting. We shall see if this works. I've also decided that I will give up every now and again going out with half a dozen fleeces on and the top down. Perhaps it's a sign of approaching middle age. Oh, who am I kidding? But there's no doubt about it. It can be quite cosy with the hood up and the heater once it gets warmed up. The only trouble is, and I expect anybody else who's got a Herald will know the same thing. If you have found it, please let me know in the comments. I find you can turn the heater on in the Herald, but trying to turn it off again to fully cold is another matter altogether. And that's because the Herald has this heater valve which opens up the hot water supply to the heater matrix and then shuts it off again, and that's worked off this push-pull switch here. Pull out is to make the heat come on, and then push in makes the heat go off. Unfortunately, when you push off, it's only a fairly flimsy cable, and it doesn't push the heater control off fully home, so you still get some warm. But never mind, we've got windows, haven't we, so that doesn't really matter. I did initially think it was a fault with the original heater valve control, heater valve, so I replaced that and it made absolutely no difference whatsoever. So it's another one of these little quirks that we live with the Herald. I wonder why they decided to do it by way of a control valve that opens up the hot water into the matrix. Why they couldn't just have a fresh air flap system so that you either direct the hot water from the matrix into the car, or you direct external directly into the car and just leave the water flowing through the heater matrix all the time. I don't know, but Triumph wanting to do things a little bit different maybe, or perhaps all cars of that time did. Again, I'm not an expert, so I don't know. Right, so the engine's warmed up a bit. I'm going to try taking her up to 50 and keep talking and just see if we get any dropout. Have to be a little bit careful on this road exceeding 50 because there's very often a speed camera van down here, but not today by the looks of it, so that's good. And yeah, the heater's certainly warming up now, so that's good as well. I could turn the fan on, but that would just make even more noise. We'll turn left here, and it's a trip. If you've been with me before, you'll know this route. It takes us past Wayland Prison and through the village of Griston, and then the adjacent village of Caston, or Carston, and you'll know the Norfolk pronunciation of Caston stroke Carston if you've been with me before. Oh, and just for those that don't know the controls on the 1360 Herald, which is slightly different to the older model, the 1250 and the 948 that came before the 1200. We'll do them in a minute. We don't want to run over this little group of cadets. There they are, all marching nicely. I shall be marching nicely this afternoon with the dog, but in a slightly different posture. I should be leaning backwards slightly to try and keep him under control, but it doesn't usually work. Anyway, talking about controls, here we go. So this is on the left here is the heater control, hot and cold, push pull, and here's some more cadets. They are being busy little bees. And there's another group of them up ahead as well. Gosh, they are keen. Anyway, this control next to it, it controls the flow of the air so it either goes down to your feet or up to the screen. I never work out which is which, in or out, but there you go. And here we have the third group. And so this next control switch here is for the heater fan, just got one speed, and then this one is for the lights. You pull it out and it turns. First of all, the first click is the lights themselves, the external lights, and the second click gives you the external lights plus the panel lights, and then the main beam, dip beam, are controlled off this lever here. It may have been that people were quite a bit shorter in those days. But it always puzzles me, this lever, why the dip position on the headlights, which is the one you're probably going to be using most frequently, is down here, which means that you're in danger of knocking your knee against it. Slightly taller people are anyway, but that's just my little quirk, I suppose. Perhaps I should find a different driving position. Anyway, I haven't told you about the last one, have I? This one is the choke. I expect we'll be getting all sorts of rattles and squeaks. I can certainly hear them from inside the car, and I expect the mic is picking them up as well. It really is a beautiful, beautiful day. I don't know if you can see on the left there was a premises, commercial vehicle repairers and services. a premises that does servicing, a garage. How about that? That's a good word for it, isn't it? And that's where I used to take the Comma PB truck that I had to be looked after. I think the very first video I put on this channel was with the PB, just showing it on its way out, with me having sold it, and the reason why. So if you want to know why I ended up with a Herald, that's the video to watch. It's only a short one. So we're sort of coming around in a circle now. I was just going to go straight back along the road that we've come on, but I think I might just dive off somewhere else. We'll see. Just didn't want to upset the cadets too much, but I suppose on the other hand they might be pleased to see the Herald again. Everybody is out today, aren't they? A group of cyclists. Can certainly see the leaves are turning now. Getting to be some pretty colours. Tell you what, we'll make this up as we go along. We'll either go left or straight ahead, depending on where the cyclists are going. And here's the first lot of cadets, look. Actually marching. I think that can't be the first lot that we saw, though. Can't have moved that quickly. Perhaps there was another lot that we didn't see. So we've dived off now. Dove? Oh dear, I don't seem to be able to sort my words out in my brain this morning. Nothing unusual there, say the kids. So we've come this way. This will take us down towards the village of Stowbedon. Stowbedon again is another pronunciation. I think Stowbedon is how it's pronounced by people that don't know it. Foreigners, as we say, people what don't come from Norfolk, that's what we say. Gulls that we mustn't call seagulls because there's a large number of them living inland now. There's a big flock of them on that field over there. And on the muck heaps over here. Dining tonight. Oh, tasty. I do like being out in this car. Just always puts a smile on your face. If you ever get fed up with the daily grind of driving in your modern box, insulated from the outside world, as I do when I drive our Toyota. I shouldn't say that because it's a beautifully reliable car and a wonderful thing to do a long journey on, and I certainly wouldn't want to take the Herald to Scotland. I think you might be a bit tired at the end of that journey. However, for shortish journeys, I suppose up to sort of, well, I've done 50, 60, 70 miles in it at one go, and oh, it's lovely for that. Brings back the pleasure of driving, and just reminds you how many inputs you have to put into a car that hasn't got all these mod cons that modern cars have. like suspension, for instance. That's one of them. So here we are, having forked off left there at Caston. We've come down to the main road, the 1075 again. That's the road that we were on before we turned left to go past Wayland Prison. So we'll just head up back north now if there's ever a break in the traffic. Which there was, and then we'll probably fork off left and go through the village of Thompson as the last thing. You may have just heard you don't get much sound insulation from the outside with a soft top. That motorcycle just proved it. Oh, lovely. That very rarely happens that somebody gives way to me in this, but there you go. That's a first. What a gentleman. I'm not too precious about it, but I'm a bit reluctant to pull her in too much. You never know, you might hit a stone or something, and I've got to preserve her, got to look after her. Lovely little village, Thompson. On the left we've just sort of come past Thompson Common where the Pingos are. The little ponds that were formed in the last ice age, very shallow ponds, teeming with wildlife. Fascinating place. And then we're coming up into the sort of first part of the village, the southern part, which is concentrated around Thompson College Farm as it now is. Quite a bit of history with this part of the village. And then if you've been out with me previously, these are the fields here to the left and the right that have been acquired by the Woodland Trust, and the intention is that there'll be new woodland planted on the left and right, and the villagers will be joining in to do some of the planting. Popular spots for walkers around here. do that a little bit sharply because I don't want to drop into that puddle. No point taking the car out on a dry day with the roads dry and then dropping it into a puddle and having to clean it when you get back. Something you may find difficult to believe, I've now owned this car for more than 18 months, 19, 20, 21, 22 months now, and I have never actually washed it. She's got wet once or twice, and I've dried her off with a chamois leather, and occasionally she's got one or two dirt marks on her that I've just wiped off with a damp leather or a damp cloth. Other than that, I've kept her polished and cleaned, and that shows the advantage of not taking her out when the roads are healthy or when there's salt on the roads. If I carry on like this, she might actually last. I don't think I'm perhaps mollycoddling her as much as well, certainly the main owner, once he decided she was a keeper, definitely not mollycoddling her as much as he did, and certainly not as much as the owner that I bought it off, who hardly put any miles on her at all. I don't see the point in having one if you're not using it. I want to enjoy her. I mean, I want to make sure she's preserved to a certain extent as well, but the way things are going with climate change and electric vehicles and the apparent prohibition on the sale of new fossil fueled vehicles we're going to have in Britain, is it 2030, is it 2035? We'll see whether that happens or not. But, you know, bearing all that in mind, I think those of us that have got a classic car need to be getting out and enjoying them now while we can. I mean, the other thing is, of course, at my age, if I've got 20 more years of driving this, I shall count myself lucky. So she's only got to last me another 20 years, and she's already 56 years old, so should be okay, shouldn't it? I don't know if you caught that sort of over there to the right hand side. There's been a certain lack of maintenance of some of the woodland around here recently, and bracken has started to take over. Unfortunately, if nothing's done about it, it is going to be very invasive indeed, and ultimately it will lead to the loss of wildlife. I hope something gets done about it, but I fear it may not. Of course, in the old days they used to be able to use glyphosate with bracken, but I mean, particularly wildlife trusts, for instance, nowadays are trying not to use any chemicals at all. The system they have for dealing with bracken on their reserves is that they drag a chain either with a tractor for the larger areas, or they actually put it behind a horse to get in amongst the trees, because a horse is more manoeuvrable and does less damage to the underlying soil, and they just drag this around to knock the bracken down. And apparently if you do that on a fairly regular basis for 4 or 5 years, then it kills the bracken off, because there's precious little that will eat bracken. Certainly grazing animals won't touch it, and it doesn't seem to have much in the way of natural control. Anyway, as we're now coming to some twisty roads, I'll sign off and say I hope you've enjoyed this little trip out, and if you have, please like and subscribe. You'll know there'll be varied content on this channel if you've watched before, a little bit of everything, so there should be something to please everybody. Doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, and you get the notifications and you won't miss me. Miss me? Who wants to see me? Of course you do. Bye for now.